Hey, hello YouTube, how you guys doing? It's Atticus, how we all? Yeah, Merry Christmas, and I have a really cool one for you today. So, I have actually a lot of games. I just finished my Dark Elf Cavalry Guide, so all I have to do is cast it, and I'll have that up probably tonight. And I have a couple games with MGL Amber, who is ranked 13 on ladder. So I've been playing a lot with her, learning, some different builds, and, both of us experimenting and seeing, different ways that we play the Dark Elves and stuff, which has been really cool, seeing, other people's strategies for it. I did that with Lotus Moon as well, and a few other people, and it's really helped me grow as a player. So this is one of our replays. This is a High Elf versus Dark Elf, and since she is a Dark Elf main too, we decided we would, take turns with them. So I took my second best race, which is the High Elves, and so it's a really cool army setup for both of us, and I'll go ahead and just explain to you what I brought and the thought process behind this build. So I brought a princess on a horse, stripped down with only the magic missile, supported by, and this is something you don't see a lot, but the Handmaiden. And the Handmaiden is really good because she has magical attacks, anti-large up close. She has armor-piercing ranged, and she's just a really good, and she buffs units that are ranged. She has, if you look right here, let's see, there it is right there. So she gives Quicksilver Shot, which is plus 10 to reload skill. She also has a Horns of Isha, which is plus 5 to reload skill and melee attack. So you get to see all these different buffs right here. Another one to melee attack and another one to reload skill. So I put her next to the princess, which is a ranged lord, and also next to a unit of Lyrian Ravers. So all three of these are going to be just doing a lot of damage. And I have an anti-large option if somebody tries to get in close. So I like the synergy of these three units, and it's fairly cheap, so it allows you to go a lot wider on the rest of your line. So for my front line, I brought a mixture of spears with the Scions of Mathlon to get the ward save. They have that protection and units that are around them. Couple units of Swordmasters to be my my AP to chew through most of the Druchii army. And a couple units of Lothran Sea Guards with the shields, and these guys are going to be dealing with like Witch Elves, Sisters of Slaughter, and things like that. Also have one Bolt Thrower, which is going to be trying to pressure some of her cav units and things like that. In the back, in reserve, we have one unit of Dragon Princes. And I also have over here, as you can see, another unit of Lyrian Ravers. But yeah, one of the missile chariots. And if you guys saw my last replay of the Dark Elves, I've been having a lot of fun with these chariots lately. They're really good. And they've really, since I started doing this, it's really helped a lot of my builds. It's like that missing piece, especially the Dark Elf one, because of their high armor, the high damage, and the versatility of being able to use range and up close. So yeah, that's my build. For MGL here, we have a couple, looks like, Celestia Harvesters and Doomfire Warlocks. So I really like this in this matchup. They could bypass the physical resist of like Dragon Princes. They have really good supporting spells like Lesser Doom Bolt, Word of Pain, Soul Stealer. And yeah, and they have a 40% ward save, which is very, very hard to get through if you don't have magic damage. Fortunately for me, my Handmaiden does do magic damage, but yeah, I mean that's gonna be a lot of work cut out for her. For MGL's front line, we have 4 units of Bleak Swords with a couple chevrons, and I like this because, yeah, they could trade really good with the Spearmen. They do have their martial prowess, and whereas the High Elves have, the martial prowess. Oh, yeah, I guess murderous prowess, excuse me, for the Dark Elves, whereas the High Elves have martial prowess. So Dark Elves get stronger the longer they fight. High Elves are stronger in the beginning and lose that as they fight, once they drop below 50% health. She also has looks like 2 units of Cold One Knights, which is the anti-large, really good, and also herself she has a Cold One Chariot, so she's going to have the same kind of idea, with me having that ranged option and then also getting some charges. And for her real killing power, she has 2 units of Witch Elves and a Sisters of Slaughter. So yeah, that's really a lot of anti-infantry. It's going to be a lot of killing. It's going to mean that my High Elves are going to have a lot of work cut out for them. So let's go ahead and start the match here. Hope I put it in slow motion. So right off the bat, you can see that I'm going to start getting my bolt thrower here to start trying to shoot on these Celestia Harvesters. And I'm going to start screening with my princess and the Handmaiden and just trying to do, a little early on damage. Since I have the ranged advantage, she's going to have to come to me. And you'll see, once her lord comes into position, I'm going to start trying to get a little bit of damage with, my little strike force here. Over on the right flank, you can see that I'm starting to get these guys into position, and what I'm trying to hope to do is, get a surround on them, hit them on the back, which will cause her to spread, split her army. You can see over here that her Supreme Sorceress, I forgot to mention that is her Lord of Death, is going to come into position. But yeah, I mean, look at this damage, guys. Just one little volley does a nice little chip, on her, which is going to cause her to have to, retreat. So yeah, right off the bat, and this one doesn't have any healing, so any damage I can do now, excuse me, is beneficial for me. If you look at the balance of power, however, she has a very strong lead just right off the bat. But I want to show you guys, just because you start a game and the balance of power is not in your favor, don't give up. I mean, it's not always, I've lost games where I had a really high balance of power and I've won them when I didn't. So she is going to send her chariot in here to try to get into position. You can see over here that I'm just trying to get a little ranged onto these sisters. She is going to try to screen with some of the bleak swords, which is unfortunate. I am going to send my bolt thrower here to try to shoot at this chariot, since it's a big threat with its 110 armor. We're going to get a couple hits there, lower it almost to a quarter of its health. She is going to send in some Doomfire Warlocks right here to try to get into my Eagle Claw bolt thrower. Yeah, you can see right here, I think it's a Soul Blight getting ready to be cast. And over here, I'm going to get a really juicy charge into these Sisters of Slaughter. Just one charge, lowers them by 50%. So now our front lines are collapsed. You can see that these Doomfire Warlocks have, got into my bolt thrower, but it's okay for me because over in this pocket we're just shooting in. You can see I'm going to pull back my Dragon Princes and I'm going to get hold them up with my spears. And yeah, so right now we just have a mosh pit right here. I'm going to get a really good rear charge into these Doomfire Warlocks. MGL is going to cast a Purple Sun right here, but it kind of veered off in the right direction and she didn't get the best value for it. Over here, I did get a charge with my chariot. It went right through those swords since she came out of the woods with those cold ones. And yeah, so all around here we're just getting kind of mosh pitted. My chariots are going to come into these sisters right here, and yeah, this is what I'm talking about, guys. These chariots, they're just so good. Over here, I have a unit of Lothran Sea Guard, which are providing overwatch for my forces. Over here, one of my Illyrian Ravers is screening out for her, and I'm just charging, guys. I'm just getting cycle charges. All meanwhile, my Princess and Handmaiden are trying to focus in on the Supreme Sorceress. You can see now we have broken the main infantry fight, and the balance of power now is strongly in my favor, which is really good for me. One of my units of Lothran Sea Guard are now out of melee, so they can start providing some of that ranged overwatch as well. And yeah, so I mean, all around here, guys, it's looking really good for me. I got cold ones fighting sword masters, and my Dragon Princes have been they got word of pain by the Celestial Harvesters, which is a little unfortunate. Over here, you can see I'm going to get a nice little juicy charge into these Witch Elves, but unfortunately, it's going to cause my units to rout almost instantly. So, yeah, if you look back here, you can see that she did send one of her Cold One Knights to try to shut down my Lothran Sea Guard. But, yeah, they're anti-large, so they're not going to take a lot of damage. Over here, another Purple Sun, but I think her aim was a little off because it kind of veered off again. And it didn't do as much damage as it probably should have. So, yeah, so now my Dragon Princes, I got 2 Sword Masters free, and I'm going to use these Dragon Princes just to keep getting, those juicy charges. All meanwhile, you can see my Sorceress and my Handmaiden are just shooting in here, and they had the skirmish, so they're not taking a lot of damage. You can see I'm going to get a nice rear charge into these units. And, what this is doing, it's really just crushing their leadership as well. Every time that they take that, you get that rear charge penalty. You can see that her Supreme Sorceress is going to charge into my Hargoneth Executioners, which I'll take that trade any day of the week. And you can see my Dragon Princes now are starting to come back for another charge. I see these Witch Elves are right here exposed, so I'm going to send in, try to get a nice free charge into them right here. And yeah, if you could watch this damage, well, that's not the best charge. It was kind of a limp charge, but yeah. If you look right here, my Princess and Handmaiden are now, we've lowered her health almost down to, like an eighth. We still have a lot of different Sword Masters here. And yeah, my Dragon Princes are just going back and forth, just getting those charges. Unfortunately, they are going to get hit by the Witch Elves, which is going to cause them to rout. But yeah, between that magic damage and the range of the Princess, we're able to break her Supreme Sorceress, which is really strongly in my favor right now. Dragon Princes are going to come out of route, and I'm going to send them in to get a charge. Balance of power is really strong in my favor, even more right now. There goes another charge, and that should be enough to shatter the Supreme Sorceress. And now I'm using my princess and handmaiden here just to try to deal with this chariot. I'm going to send some spears right here. You can see another really good charge by the dragon princes, and those things are like really the key to my success in this game. If not for those dragon princes, I might have been in a lot of trouble. And yeah, so that is going to be army losses. So good game to MGL. Let's go ahead and look at the end screen breakdown here. So yeah, guys, the thoughts behind my build, is twofold. One, to have the range contingent with my Lyrian Ravers and the Handmaiden and Princess, to keep them together to get the bonus. I'd have that range option, which would just be it's just slowly and surely just wearing down the enemy lord. Swordmasters to deal with Witch Elves and Sisters of Slaughter, and yeah, Swordmasters will beat Witch Elves easily. Sisters of Slaughter will put up a little bit better of a fight though, but you have these two units here to try to screen for it, which will cause her to have to either respond to it or take that damage, and the only unit she can respond with it's going to be cold ones and things like that, which they have the anti-large to protect themselves. You can see the Dragon Princes had 122 kills. I mean, yeah, they were the real MVPs this game, able to get those charges and things like that. Chariot did really good, getting the charges, getting the rear penalty, and yeah, so I mean, the build just worked, the way I wanted it to. As for MGL here, yeah, this is a really powerful build, really good. I think what might have cost her was the Purple Suns. They veered off in weird directions. If she would have maybe got more of a glob, or if they would have went more in a direction, yeah, that would have devastated those two units of Swordmasters, which would have allowed these units just to to storm through. But this build is really powerful. It's really good. It covers all your bases. I do like it. I've tried builds similar to this. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I have a couple other games. I have a Dark Elf versus Wood Elf one that we did, and then a rematch of this one right here. So, yeah, and she, like I said, she's rank 1 on ladder on Warhammer 1, and rank 13 in this game. So, very skilled, and she has her own YouTube channel. So, if any of you guys are, trying to learn from somebody high rank, I'll link it in the description. So, all right, guys, it's Atticus, and yeah, stay tuned for my guide, the Dark Elf Cav guide, which is going to be coming out tonight. It should be. Like I said, all I had to do was just cast it. I spent literally like 7 hours making it last night. It's such a long process, but I try to make it the most thorough, comprehensive guide that I can. So, it's all about building that foundation. Understanding each Dark Elf unit and intimately what they could do, what they suffer against, what are some of their traits and things like that. And having that knowledge, we'll be able to build upon that with strategy, tactics, and things like that. So. All right, guys, Merry Christmas. It's Atticus. I'll see you next time, and thank you for all the support.